My name is Petra. I have been growing food for the last 9 years. I wanted to take part in the grow experiment, to be part of this community, to see how other people doing it, where they are struggling, where they are successful, and also to contribute with my data or with my experience. On my allotment I grow potatoes, strawberries, chard, spinach, rhubarb, blackcurrant, apple trees from pips.
Hello, my name is Janut. I've been growing food on this allotment since 2016. I wanted to take part in a Grow Observatory polyculture experiment because I wanted to know how can I improve my growing practices by also seeing how other people in the world are doing it. I like to grow the usual things like potato, cabbages, broccoli, soft fruit like strawberry, raspberry, currants, and also I like to grow some unusual plants like South American crops like yacon, oca, and everything that's new and interesting and with the potential to be a new crop for UK.
My name is Victoria Drasner. We're currently on South Cabrales, a community allotment in southwest Reading, inside the polytunnel, because as you can hear the pitter-patter of this lovely Reading weather. This site is a community allotment based in southwest Reading called South Cabrales. It's been developed from a piece of derelict land. Here we collectively grow fruit and veg without using any toxic chemicals, and a large part of it has been given to nature, so plenty of wildlife.
This experiment brought together growers from around the world. Everyone grew the same crops individually and combined in a planned polyculture. Polycultures, that is several crops grown together, show great promise in terms of supporting ecosystem biodiversity, reducing pest damage and improving food yields. Growers are increasingly interested in combining crops, but there's a lack of specific and robust guidance on what really works. At the same time, there's been little scientific investigation into mixtures of 3 or more crops. Although this follows a similar mixed veg experiment run by the Permaculture Association and the University of Cumbria in 2011, this format of encouraging growers to test a hypothesis and gain understanding from their own results is pretty novel in the field of citizen science. Another novel aspect was training participants to do their own research. The experiment was introduced in a free online course about regenerative food growing practices. The course discussed approaches to food growing while also taking participants through the process of identifying and refining their own research questions and designing an investigation to answer them. The experiment enabled participants to learn by doing in a supportive and friendly community. In this experiment, we will compare a mix of 3 crops growing together, that is a polyculture, with each crop grown on its own in a monoculture. We're going to plant climbing beans which can grow to 2 metres high, spinach which will cover the ground and grow to about 40 centimetres, and radish, a root crop, the leaves of which will grow to about 20 centimetres. The polyculture mix we'll plant in a plot a metre squared, and then we'll keep that same metre and then change the size of the plots so that we're keeping the number of seeds we plant the same and the density between them roughly the same between each plot. So the beans will grow in a 1 metre by 60 centimetre plot, the spinach will grow in 1 metre by 50 centimetres, and the radish will grow in 1 metre by 30 centimetres.
So the grow experiment just used 3 different crops. I was successful with the climbing beans, but spinach and radish didn't work out well last year.
What made me want to take part in a polyculture grow observatory experiment was that I really wanted to know how crops affect one another, the benefits, or if they're not helping each other, or if the effect is neutral.
I've always been curious about companion planting. Why some plants grow well together while others don't. There's a gazillion of companion planting charts out there, but they lack scientific background, they're mostly anecdotal.
I think the best aspect of the experiment was that we got in touch with the other growers and we can check how they're doing, and also if we can get new ideas to improve our experiment.
The best aspects were harvesting, of course, and consciously actually by measuring the crop, which I normally wouldn't do.
The biggest challenge for me was to minimize variables such as sunshade, soil nutrients and pH between the polyculture and the monoculture control plots.
I think the most challenging aspect of the experiment was that we have to try to remember to write down and weight every crops we got and to see how are they improving over the season. I learned that I have to try to be more organized because I haven't checked the pest and they destroy a lot of the seedlings.
I've learned that preparations are the most essential, so the crops grow their best, and of course maintenance.
It is difficult to say if the soil has improved because I have done it only for 1 year and now it's the second year, and every year I try to add my own compost, horse manure and wood chips to it, so I try always add things to it, and that has become even more important because I did the online course. And you're saying that when you grow vegetables or whatever you grow something, plants take out nutrients and I have to put something back or use plants that put back, like the peas and beans.
This project was so unique, so original, that it became a bit of a celebrity. It attracted attention. I've been interviewed by the local radio about it, and last year South Cabrales have received a silver award in the most attractive allotment category. The award commission were quite curious about the experiment. The polyculture plot indeed looked quite attractive, with bean plants in bloom and some flowering radishes at the edges. So who knows, it could have influenced their rating.
The experiment has encouraged me to continue experimenting with combining vegetables and also combining vegetables and fruit and some ornamental plants like pollinator-friendly plants.
What I enjoyed the most was that by looking at the other growers and how they their result and my result, I could compare and try to get new ideas and improve my growing practices.
Lots of individual growers have tried out polycultures, but without a joined-up approach, it's hard to understand if what works for somebody else will work for you. By comparing the growth of 3 crops grown in a polyculture with them grown as monocultures, we were able to assess if one approach was more productive, and we did get a winner. Our amazing experimenters gained an answer for their own gardens, and collectively we've learned what works best overall, how often and in which situations. We can now give clearer and more reliable recommendations to other growers.
The polycultures yielded more, climbing beans in particular. So this year we are repeating the experiment to see if this trend persists. And I'm very keen to investigate what mechanisms make some polycultures more successful.